This is Red Hot Reds Live. Here are your hosts, Ricky Logan and Roger Strauss.
Welcome to the Red Hot Reds podcast. It is Sunday at 8 p.m. And yes, we are buying the hype. We are live. And Sir Boy, we agree already. It's been a great Father's Day. Happy Father's Day, Ricky. And happy Father's Day to all those fathers out there, grandfathers and great-great-grandfathers, all the guys out there. Shout out to them. And we had a 4-2 week, so we're feeling great. Ricky, I guess, how are you feeling?
Feeling pretty good. It was a nice day outside today. Kind of rained a little bit early in the morning, but it was pretty well. Didn't do a whole lot. How was your day been so far?
It was good. Yeah, the weather turned around. I got a nap in. It was great Father's Day. Just barely doing anything today. Just going to church and all that, and just go home and take it easy. So that's all I want. I don't really need anything special and whatnot. I think we got some ice cream too. So that's about it.
Nice.
Simple stuff. Nothing crazy here. But before we get going, I want to thank Doug and Jordan for this platform at Ohio Sports Talk. We're trying to grow this platform here with them and with our platform, Red Hot Reds Podcast. Please follow us on YouTube, X, Instagram, Facebook. Also, shout out to Dubby, our sponsor. Dubby, the only sugar-free Focus energy drink out there. When you go check out at dubby.gg, use the promo code REDHOT10 to get an additional 10% off. We really appreciate that because you support them. That helps and supports us. So we're really in a good mood because this game today especially was a game that we don't necessarily win, right, Rick? This is like
we did it
match, and like the streak is broken. We usually, I think of the streak is like the games that if we win or we lose the first game, win game 2, we never win that rubber match. So that's something to talk about. I think it's one of our topics, so we won't get too far in there, but it feels good to exhale. The Reds can win this game. It's not impossible, right?
Yeah, it feels good. And I think it was the first time since July of 2023 that we won a series after losing the first game of a series. So I think that, we win the Ohio Cup for the first time in 11 years, and then we go out and we win a series after losing the first game. Get the parade ready. I'm ready to go. Yeah,
and 2 consecutive series wins. 3, actually, if you include Diamondbacks, right? So
6-2 on the road trip.
Hey, man, I don't know. They seem to play better on the road. It just feels like that. I don't know if it's the stats back it up. And, yes, Sir Boy, they have not been swept in the year of our Lord 2025. So shout out to the Reds for at least, this 2024 Reds, I think we're swept at least 3 times at this point in the season. So
2024 Reds, we were swept 4 times in May. So
yeah, that was probably it. And then they got the hot streak in June. So maybe I'm just But anyway, shout out Mark Fetters. He's here in the chat as well. Shout out to all the guys that support us, all the girls that support us. We really appreciate it. We go live every Sunday at 8 p.m. to recap the Reds week. And this week has been really special because our guy, Mr. Elly De La Cruz, has been something special. And I just want to get into this because Ricky's also got a segment with the Red Comment of the Week that we're going to get to. That's going to be
a good one. It's juicy.
Yeah.
It's still going, too. I have more and more keep popping up, and I'm like, I've already made the graphic. I can't add them anymore.
Yeah. And as Sir Boy says, acknowledge the tribal chief, acknowledge Elly De La Cruz.
Yes.
He is the most overrated player in Cincinnati.
He sucks.
He's not. He might be now. Everyone's going to expect him to hit a home run every single game. What is it? 4 straight games that we got.
4 straight. Yep.
So, what have you seen from Mr. Elly De La Cruz this week?
Everything. He's been great. He's struck out 5 times in his last games. That's pretty good for him. I'll take it. And he's grown 3 walks. So, I was doing some deep dives on Baseball Reference, and he's having a career year in every stat other than stolen bases, but every stat, on base, slugging, OPS plus, batting average, all of it, career year so far. And all we do is we see hate and hate and hate on this 23-year-old man. I just don't understand it. But when he's on and he's special. He carries this team. He's the little engine that could, should I say? But he carries the team. He really does.
Yeah, as the Reds went, so did he. The one thing that had been a concern is kind of been his speed of late, stealing bases. He's got 0 triples, which is crazy to think about. He's got 0 triples.
2.3 WAR player this season.
Yeah, he's going to have to really because I think in the beginning when we were doing our preseason shows, we were talking about him being like a top 5 candidate for MVP, maybe top 3. Unfortunately, Shohei Ohtani still exists, but there's definitely a scenario that if he keeps up, gets the Reds to the playoffs, top 2, I don't think is a problem. But the thing that was weird is that his speed is kind of like not dropped off, but he's not stealing as much. He's obviously came into the season saying that he'd prefer stealing 90% of his bases. So I think he's picking and choosing a little bit more. He's hitting in the 3-hole, so it's not necessarily the greatest spot to steal all the time, but it's almost like he's making, and I know we talked about this a couple times, he's making kind of Barry Bonds transition already, where he's now becoming the power guy. Like he leads, I think, the NL shortstops with 15 or 16 home runs, excuse me. Like, so he's like the guy, at least in the power position for NL shortstops. And we'll definitely want him to lead that category if he is to become maybe the NL starter in the All-Star game. Maybe. I know Mookie Betts still exists, so unfortunately he might get the fan vote, which is for better or for worse. But I think
Ellie has a pretty large following. I wouldn't be shocked if he can sneak his way in there.
And he also just has that charisma, that magnetism, that all-star kind of bravado that you want, that MLB obviously markets, and definitely the Reds market at every single turn. I mean, I was watching the Roku game, and I know there's a lot of takes on the Roku game. I was watching Twitter X about all the Roku takes, but every time they were talking about the Reds, it was this man. He is the face of the franchise. He is the guy you talk about at the start of the game, the middle of the game, and the end of the game. And rightly so. The way that he's playing right now, he deserves all the plaudits, all the praise. And I know Mark and Sirboy are shouting out other guys. This is our Elly De La Cruz topic right now. We're going to talk about Elly De La Cruz. Sorry, guys. We're just going to have to talk about
him. This guy's earned it.
This guy not just earned it, but it just shows that even if this guy isn't exactly what you think it is, because obviously there's a lot of, I like to call them haters, but a lot of critics out there that don't think every single thing he does isn't great. That's fine. Like, he's going to make mistakes. He's going to not necessarily act or look the way you want to. But, like, the thing that the Reds need is they need this guy to be the best version of himself. And I think he is still growing into that. But if he is getting there quicker, that only makes the Reds better. I don't understand why we need to have him hit 50 home runs and steal 50 bases like he's a 30-year-old Shohei Ohtani. Like, he's got 7 more years to get to that point, really, but at the same time, like, he is still doing things that players haven't done since like 1900, right? Like getting to the 300 hits and 300 hits and like 100 home runs and 150 stolen bases before anybody since 1900. I'm probably got the stat wrong, but it was like a couple weeks ago we profiled that. But anyway, point is that, like, give it up for him. Like, this guy is the future face of Major League Baseball. Whether he's on the Reds or not, there was a little comment by Nick Kroll, I think this afternoon, that came out that Boris is not necessarily coming to the negotiating table. And, dude, it's unfortunate because, like, the better he plays, the higher the price tag goes up. So there's that, right? Like, there's that situation where he's going to be. And I think I've been borrowing your take, Ricky. Sorry if I haven't been giving you too much credit on it. He might be the most expensive arbiter deal in Major League history at this rate. And why not? He certainly is going to deserve whatever Boris and his team come to the table with. It's just a matter if the Reds are going to be able to afford him, I guess.
Yeah, and like Mark says, he's still learning. Like, he's 23, man. Like, he's got the potential to be just unreal. I mean, something that we've never seen before. Like, he could be the greatest 5-tool player ever. And that says a lot based off of Ohtani's season last year with the 50 home runs and 50 stolen bases. But like, Ellie could do that and do that and be, this elite shortstop and just face of baseball as well. And it could be like a passing of a torch because, Ohtani's not going to do this forever. He's getting up there in age a little bit. I think he was around 30. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, you hit that age, you start to slow down a little bit, but I don't know. It's exciting, but it is kind of scary just, based off of Kral's comments that there are zero talks right now. But I also don't take everything Kral says at face value because he's terrible with his words. And I don't know. I like Nick Krall a lot, but he's got to watch the way he speaks.
Yeah, this is the same guy that said that Chase Burns is not ready. So this is kind of what we have to deal with in Cincinnati. You're right. Maybe he's better at the stuff that his job entails and the front facing talking to the media. Maybe that's not his strongest point. He's obviously a guy that talks a bit kind of like David Bell, where he doesn't want to give away much. So I don't know. Maybe Brad Meter needs to grow into that media face, and maybe he might be worse at it. Maybe that's a problem. Nick Kral's our best, front-facing guy. I mean, we also have Phil Castellini, so there's that in terms of talking with the media.
Man,
so
that's brutal.
If Nick Kral's our best of the best, woof. But anyway,
we need some better media training in the city.
Yeah, or something. I don't know. The Bengals definitely need some media training too. So there's that. But I don't know. I guess we're gonna have to try to come to some conclusion on talking about Ellie because we can go on forever for sure. But the one thing that I saw today, especially, is that even though he's kind of been slowing down a bit, not stealing bases and having triples or anything like that, he got the second or third inning going by beating out a ball to first base, and then I think the pitcher threw it, or the second base, I forget, someone threw it away and he got the second. So he still puts pressure on the defense with his speed one way or another. And that's what you love to see, because I think there was an article that Charlie G talked about that right after the game. He did a post-game article on Substack talking about how they are trying to tap back into that chaos ball. And that's kind of that invokes 2024, 2023 in terms of putting pressure on the defense. And Ellie is a huge part of that, obviously. TJ Friedel as well has been good to, throw down a random bunt to get the kind of chaos going, put pressure on the infield defense and whatnot from time to time. So I don't know. If we can combine some sort of chaos ball with this great pitching we have, it could be some great recipe to be competitive. Unfortunately, we still got the Brewers who are ahead of us and the Cubs, but I don't know. It looks like the Cardinals are falling back to earth, which is great to see because we hate the Cardinals and they stink. So we'll hopefully catch them this coming week in a bad spot and take them out. It'll be in St. Louis, though, so hopefully we can get 2 out of 3 there like we did this weekend against the Tigers. But any other takeaways from Ellie in this weekend?
No, I just, obviously you'd love to see him clean up his defense a little bit, but, this is a second full season in Major League Baseball. So, I mean, he's got the work ethic. I think he'll clean it up.
Yeah, for sure. And shout out to Sir Boy. Javi Baez also had some really bad errors today as well. So, they're definitely, there's going to be critics on all sides. I'm not sure how many people really love Javi Baez in Detroit. We'd have to check with some Detroiters about that. But I think I tweeted out, thank you, Javi Baez, because he kept an inning alive for the Reds to score a couple more runs and whatnot. So it's just, you love to see that. You love to see when other teams struggle, even the team that has the most wins in Major League Baseball. It makes you, I know, Elliott's take always is this is a team that can sweep the Guardians, sweep the Diamondbacks, but lose to the Marlins and lose also to the White Sox. But dude, all these guys are professional players. Obviously, they're not always going to play perfect, but
just depends on when you catch them.
Yeah,
honestly.
Yeah,
we got kind of lucky. We didn't get their A pitchers. We didn't get Casey Mize, and we didn't get Scooble.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, their bullpen is like probably the best in baseball, and their starters are really good. And I talked about it on the Chatterbox pregame show on Friday with Mike, and it's we talked about it too on Wednesday. We play up to our opponents, but we also play down, and we played up to our opponent, and we won a series against the best team in the American League. And the Guardians aren't a sleeper team either, and we won 2 out of 3 and 5 out of 6 altogether. So, I mean, everyone cries season's dead, but if we can just sneak in the playoffs, I think we could do something.
Yeah, Diamondbacks also are back up there in the wild card chase. They won 5 straight games or something like that this week. And yeah, but there is some little concerns. Sirboy hits on it. We're not really good at hitting with runners in scoring position. There's that stat that's been thrown out there also that the Reds, if they hit 1 home run, they have a decent chance of winning the game. 2 home runs, it like goes through the roof. And then 3 home runs, obviously they like win almost 90% of the game. So like it can't really depend on that long ball. Obviously, when you start to get against the better teams later in the year, so you'd like to see them get a lot better with hitting and running and scoring position. So I completely with Sirboy in that. We highlighted, I think, last week or midweek last week, they hit like 4 for 37 for 1 week in runners in scoring position. Yeah. And it's like, that's not great.
I think it was the first Guardian series.
Yeah. And if they're going to hit like that with runners in scoring position, even with, like there was the game, or was it that they had like no outs and the bases loaded and they get anybody in. So like, hey, that's got to be a little bit better, is I guess all I'm saying. And hopefully the Reds can get through that, get some maybe more professional hitters. McLean maybe get some more confidence and get him going, because I know he's been struggling the whole season, but he's coming on a little bit late, so much so that Tito trusts him to put him in the 2-hole again. And that's where, everyone wants him to be. I think that's obviously where Tito wants him to be, because he's the guy that is going to set up the – right ahead of the 3-hitter Ellie De La Cruz and 4 Hayes or Stevenson or Encarnacion Strand. So like we kind of need that to get that going. Hopefully that will be the case. I mean, they know that, like, even in the Charlie G article, they're talking about like Lux, and everybody knows, they see that McLean is like right there, but it's just still, you know what I mean? Like he struck out a couple times, I think today or this weekend, and obviously he's not going to start hitting like 500, but I think there's been a lot of talk of him. And I want to say I saw Clay Snowden on Chatterbox with Nick Kirby talking about that maybe McLean's not necessarily the 300 hitter or 290 that he was in 2023, but he's not the 180 hitter that he is now. So maybe he's somewhere in the middle there, like 250, 260, but with a little bit of sneaky pop. So like, I don't know exactly. Hopefully he can be that kind of guy. Like you pointed out, he's second on their team in home runs, and I think he's got 7 or 8, right?
Yeah, and I think he also made a point, like they want to compare people by position, but I forget who Clay said it, so I'd like to give him credit. But he said that
Tyler
he said Tyler O'Neill would be the comp. He's like, I'd take that. I mean, obviously, you'd love to see 2023 McLean back, but if he's not going to be that and he's going to be Tyler O'Neill, it's like, shoot, that's fine. I'll take it.
Yeah. For sure, yeah. And I think the guys really rally behind him. He's kind of like a Spencer Steer, like a guy that nobody has a problem with on the clubhouse. Which maybe that's why they don't send him to AAA, is because everyone seems to be behind him, support him, and whatnot. But hey, if he starts to hit, he's definitely got the glove. He's definitely shown some really great flashes, and with Ellie kind of still working through a lower leg injury, he can play short, so that's great as well. Give Ellie some rest to play DH on Sundays like he did today. So hey, we'll take that for him. And yeah, absolutely, Mark. If the Reds are going to be a legit offense, because the pitching's there, right? To be a legit offense to put fear into the other team and, go up maybe against a Skubal next time around, or, a Paul Skeens, because the Reds have kind of been lucky missing out on some aces from other teams and whatnot. But, hey, if like we say, if he's like a Tyler O'Neill type of player, sneaky power, decent batting average, we'll take that for sure. Because Matt McLain, I think, is one of the good ones they're trying to build around. So hopefully he can get that confidence back and work back into it. But the other thing that we want to talk about is streak's over.
Yeah,
we're back to the Rally Reds.
We did it.
Yeah, I think the stat, and I think shout out to Greg Kuffner, aka Red Staley 4, had been tracking a stat of like when the Reds are losing going into the seventh inning, they're like 0-30 something. Going into the 8th inning, they're like 0-25, and like trailing into the 9th, they're just over. They don't come back in 2025 at all. But mark in the calendar, June 15th, 2025. The streak is over. They can be now officially dubbed the Rally Reds again. Now that they've gone 1-30 something after trailing it going into the 7th or going to the 8th. So I don't know. I think that's just kind of hopefully water finding its level. So maybe the floodgates are going to start opening and they're going to find ability to find some rallies late. I mean, they did it against one of the best teams in baseball. So why can't they do it against others? I don't know. What do you think, Rick?
Yeah, no, I was trying to find the stat on. Oh, it was 0-29 when trailing after seven innings. So yeah, it's pretty great.
Hey,
I mean, that's like a season. That's crazy. But yeah, man, I don't even know. This team, I mean, they're so up and down with a lot of things, and then it's just I don't have words. It's nice to get off the schneid, as they say.
Yeah, for sure. And we mentioned that they finally broke that streak where they lose game 1, win game 2, and that rubber match. They have gone 39 straight series, like you mentioned, Rick, in 2023, that they haven't won that rubber match, and that I don't know what that really says as a team. I think a lot of those series, unfortunately, were under David Bell's, reign. So, is there that thing where, because David Bell would always platoon on those third game getaway days, Sunday games, and there would always be just inept offense or just not guys that would put the team in the best position to win. So, is this like a David Bell stat, or is this kind of we finally figured out hey, well, we can win these games. We don't have to just pack up our bags on Sunday and then head out of town on a plane.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's carryover. I mean, to be fair, there are still a large number of staff left over from David Bell's staff. You still have both base coaches. Benavidez is still there. I mean, the only one that's untouchable to me is Derek Johnson, just because of how good he's been with the pitching. But I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if there's some moves this offseason, and I wouldn't be shocked if the hitting coach is one of them, even though he was quote unquote Tito's guy. But talking to Justin Latta, when we talked to him, he really wasn't. Tito had his guy before him, and they kind of forced him out, and he just kind of picked another guy he thought was good. But I wanted to also shout out Wade Miley today. 5 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. I mean, he was on the couch just a couple months ago, and here he is in Major League Baseball after a couple of rough outings in the minors on rehab starts, and looking like 2021 Wade Miley, 2022 Wade Miley might go out there and sneak a no-hitter for us. I don't know.
Maybe. Not sure about that. we'll take 5 innings and 5 and dive. He can 5 and dive all he wants, and we can get to that bullpen because we've got other guys that can go super deep. Singer and even Martinez is starting to come on late and get out there. So I don't know. Yeah, there was a whole thing about that. I don't know how far you want to get in that. There's a pending court case about unfortunate passing of Tyler Skaggs, and there's a lot out there. A lot of I think opinions, and the thing that I find with X and I find with Twitter is that people have a lot of opinions. So that doesn't make them right.
Yeah, it's kind of like us doing a fan based podcast. But I agree, and it sucks because if it's not true, there should be defamation cases for sure. I mean, that's a big accusation. to accuse somebody of dealing somebody a substance that ultimately ended that person's life. It sucks. And if it did happen, it's got to weigh on him. And I don't think he would deny it as hard as he is if he didn't. You know what I mean? But yeah, like Sir Boy says, Wade Miley deserves some apology. Yeah, I mean, especially if it's proven that he didn't have it happen. Something should happen. There should be some kind of something. I don't know what the word you would use for that, but something should happen if it's proving that he's innocent.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, we'll all have to wait to see what exactly plays out in terms of what responsibility or whatever the involvement that Wade Miley had with Tyler Skaggs at all. But I don't know if necessarily the Reds are even going to have to take a position in terms of like, I guess they're taking a position so far that they kind of support him and innocent until proven guilty kind of type of stuff. So he's still in the roster, still in the ball club. They didn't cut ties with him in some sort of cancel culture way of saying like, oh yeah, you're out of here because there was one guy that tweeted that said you could possibly be, on the other end of this. Obviously, it doesn't look great to be deposed, or he was like he was brought to court to testify at the very least, right? So I don't know. There's a lot of people that go to court and testify about different things. I don't necessarily know all the details of the case. We'll have to wait and see, and that's what people should probably do most times than not, instead of come to conclusions that may or may not be true, which is why I think Sir Boy has a feeling that he probably should be apologized to, because we don't know exactly what exactly is going on in this court case at the moment. So, but yeah,
Sir Boy. That too.
No, never mind. I changed my stance. Like, Sir Boy wants an apology for all the doubters of Wade Miley, and the guy, shout out to 35 plus year olds still getting it done in Major League Baseball out there, especially the old lefty. So yeah, shout out to Wade Miley for giving.
Yeah, he could have pulled a Sean Casey and ran to first base and pulled his hamstring. So
ouch. Yeah.
I'll take it. He at least covered first base. I know the first start in Cleveland, he had the outing where he was running towards first and CES airmailed a ball to him, and I was like, oh, here we go, he's gonna get hurt. But he was good. It was all right. He made it out of that one, and he pitched a pretty good game in Cleveland too. So I'm happy. I was worried. I'll be honest. I was worried just because he had some rough outings in Dayton. He had some really rough outings in Louisville, and maybe it's kind of like spring training, I guess. As maybe we could talk about it with Jeimer Candelario too. It's like you can't judge spring training and rehab assignments stats just based on maybe they're tinkering with something. Maybe they're trying to figure out, like, if I move this way, it doesn't hurt anywhere near as much. If I swing this way, maybe it doesn't hurt as much, or I can maybe prevent injury or something. But yeah, I mean, he's looked really good. I mean, he had the really rough bullpen outing, but I mean, that's probably him just getting some work in. But I'll take it, man. This is really unexpected.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll take it. It's the stopgap I think we referred to during this whole Hunter thing. Hopefully Hunter is going to be healthier sooner than later. But yeah, Wade Miley also got made fun of by his manager covering first base, saying that he probably could have ran faster than him to get there to first base, possibly, or he couldn't have gone any slower than me. So there's that. But transitioning, talking about Tito, there was an article that came out by the Reds beat writer lately about talking about how the Reds players have expressed a lot of love for their manager. And they have said many, many times that he's fun to be around. They love playing for him. And there's all sorts of things like Mark Schoen said that he's kind of, even though he's nearly, isn't he 70 or is he above? I can't remember how old he is. He's got to be getting up there, right? But he still relates to these younger guys. And there's that viral clip that went around with the going on the gator before the game, and also Ellie trying to teach him how to do the dab.
He's 66, by the way.
Oh, okay, so sorry, I gave him a couple years there.
Just turned 66. He's 66 and 54 days old.
Ooh, all right. So yeah. So even though a 66-year-old is relating to a 23-year-old Ellie,
right.
To make him laugh, maybe it's kind of like, oh, this old guy trying to do what I'm doing type of stuff. But anyway, point being is that he's kind of the player's manager that the players talked about with David Bell and so much. But I don't think David Bell had maybe as much fun personality or he's got a very serious baseball man. So he didn't necessarily have that side of him. Maybe in the clubhouse, maybe there's some things that were unseen, but I don't think Tito, the 66-year-old Tito Francona, has any problem kind of making himself a little bit silly just to get a couple laughs, get the guys maybe to relate with them, but also kind of disarm them and get them to kind of it's baseball. It's hard. These guys are playing every single day. There's going to be some times where you have to break up that tension and whatnot. And I think Tito, from what Mark Shelton's telling us, has done a great job doing that and keeping everyone, relatively in a good mood. Obviously, it's pretty easy to do that with Ellie. Ellie loves, just life and baseball and getting out there. So
yeah,
if he's on Tito's side, then I think everyone kind of follows suit and say, okay, we can give this guy in terms of just relatability. But yeah. What are your thoughts? How do you see Tito and his interaction with this team so far this year?
It's telling. It seems like there's a real camaraderie in the clubhouse. It kind of, I'll give David Bell his flowers. In 2023, that clubhouse was tight, and I don't know what happened in 24 to where it wasn't like that anymore. But 2023, that team, it just seemed like you added a guy, they were best friends. You added another guy, they were best friends. And it went from Elly De La Cruz, Joey Votto to Nick Martini. I mean, it didn't matter who it was, they were all tight. And then I don't know, just whatever happened last year, I don't know. Did he lose the clubhouse? Did the guys just maybe set too high of expectations for what they had and then just kind of got down on themselves? But I'll give David Bell credit on that aspect. But everything else, I mean, we see people on social media that are, saying, Terry sucks, bro. You missed me yet? David Bell, the David Bell memes. I'm like, we treat David Bell like he was Dusty Baker from 2007 to 2014. I mean, come on. At least get to the playoffs and win a game. It's that aspect is just where it drives me crazy. But like you said, he has great leadership skill. The players love him. And then with the whole going back to Cleveland, I mean, you saw the ovation he got. He got a video message on the board, like everything. Like Cleveland, and they didn't even win a World Series. They got there, but they didn't win. But I don't even know. Like, it's just Terry. Just, I think like he embodies baseball. I mean, you could tell like he retired and came back, and everybody said like, "Oh, I knew you'd be back. There's no way you could let it go." And I'm just glad he's here.
Yeah, it's quite a turnaround because I think people were talking about maybe a week or two ago about like, oh, this might be just a 1-year thing for Terry Francona in Cincinnati. Maybe the second year, give him one more chance so he can build out the roster. There's no way he's going to last all 3 years. And obviously things have been going a lot better. So now everyone's like, oh yeah, extend Terry maybe. And so, but at this point, I think the biggest thing, and obviously there was a lot of criticism for David Bell and his decisions and whatnot, but the locker room never really turned on David Bell. There wasn't any certain situation or something to point to that said like, this is just not the environment. It was quite the opposite for David Bell. Like he had a very vibes, type of locker room. He was very a pro player. So there was a lot of guys that, maybe got a lot of support that maybe shouldn't have. I guess the thing I'm driving at is that maybe the accountability wasn't necessarily there a lot because he let guys kind of work through stuff or maybe kind of have some extended periods of time where maybe AAA should have been an option or what have you. But the thing I'm kind of thinking of like with Terry Francona is that his personality kind of precedes him. This history in the game kind of precedes him. I think the biggest thing for him to get here was to win the players over. Because, I mean, Elly De La Cruz obviously is who he is, but there may be some other guys that are on the fringes that may not play every day that need that same buy-in. And I think Francona's leadership ability to relate has won them over and gotten them to a spot where they're all pulling from the same rope, as the the saying goes. So I think that's been the same. Even though they haven't been playing spectacular baseball this whole season, they haven't been swept. So there is maybe some sort of siege mentality, like don't quit, don't give up, type of mentality that's maybe getting through all the clubhouse and getting to a situation where now if they start to get on a streak, they can build some series wins and stack those up. We're talking about like everyone's going to be, like the whole city will start to rally around, not necessarily just the Reds, but like Terry's Reds, like this version of the Reds. So I think there's a lot to be said in terms of it wasn't like the greatest start. There wasn't the greatest offensive displays where we're getting shut out 1-0, but I think now if they play successful winning baseball this month, next month, and so on, we don't get so upset at those losses earlier in the season. You know what I mean? The old adage is you can't win the World Series in April, but you can certainly lose it. We weren't out of it in April. We weren't playing our best baseball, but we weren't out of it. So that's the biggest thing, is keeping us kind of like in contention. And I think, there's definitely something to be said about that. Something to be said about never being swept. And maybe that's the hallmark of this team, is that they don't quit.
Yeah, and I wanted to add one more thing before we move on. I like what Prince Suter said about it. He said he always says the right things at the right time. He makes the joke at the right time, makes a serious statement at the right time. He's just got max feel with when and how and what to say. That helps break the ice for the room, helps us get into the right train of thought, helps people think about winning and executing all the time. So that's a hell of a quote. I mean, we didn't hear this kind of stuff over the last 6 years. We didn't, and now we are. And I think what Trevor Bauer said about a veteran presence in the locker room. That's something that David Bell could have stepped in and said, "Hey, we're trying to change the culture here. We want to win, not it's whatever." And whether that was Joey Votto or not, I don't know. Maybe it was. I don't know. But when you have quotes like this coming out now, year 1, 3 months in, I mean, that's huge.
Yeah, no, for sure. I definitely agree with that. And this team is definitely gone through some ups and downs, and definitely gone through some different versions of the roster throughout the year. And the thing that was announced this week is that there were some roster moves for the Reds, and unfortunately, one of our unfavorites, I don't know what's the opposite of favorite. One of our guys that obviously was not necessarily a team favorite or a fan favorite, Jacob Hurtubise, is DFA'd, made way because there was a roster. They added a Cardinal, unfortunately, but a guy that has a lot of flexibility, Ryan Vilade for the Cardinals. But he was added to the AAA roster to provide some depth, and I think Jacob Hurtubise was just they just maybe come to the end of his time with the Reds organization. And thank you for your service, I guess is the first thing that comes to mind, because he's a veteran, and he's definitely served the Reds and his country admirably. Maybe not the best baseball player, but I think the Reds, I don't know. It's kind of like the whole Bubba Thompson thing. Like, I'm not sure exactly what they were thinking in terms of not valuing Benson, not valuing, Rhys Hines. Yeah. But putting like a Blake Dunn, a Jacob Hurtubise, a Levi Jordan, you know what I mean? Like, there's a long list. And if you go to Elliot Rearing's Twitter, he has a whole starting lineup of these guys, of guys that are like, Reds players, #Reds players, I don't know necessarily if they were major leaguers, but they are Reds players. What are your thoughts on the DFA of Jacob Hurtubise?
Yeah, I was kind of looking at some numbers, and he's been pretty bad at both levels, Major League and AAA. Blake Dunn's had some moments in AAA, but nonetheless, he's been pretty bad also in AAA. And there's been talks that adding them to the 40-man was just kind of a stopgap for the next crop for eventually when South Stewart has to be added and when Cam Collier has to be added. So I don't know. And I was looking, even if we would still have Stuart Fairchild, he's been pretty bad too. So he's got 6 hits on the season for the Braves. And thank you for your service, Jacob Hurtubise, but sayonara, I guess. It's just I can't comprehend, like, for as much hate as Tito gets on like lineup management, like look at who was given. Like you were given, and he's not the one promoting Rhys Hines and demoting Rhys Hines. That's from the top. So, I mean, when you demote Rhys Hines, and we're going to talk about him later, he's been on a tear. You had a power bat that you could have had that you decided to go with Hurtubise and Garrett Hampson, and Connor Joe has his moments. I'm not out on Connor Joe, but he's not Rhys Hines. But I mean, thank you, Jacob Hurtubise, but and also thank you for clearing up a 40-man spot.
Yeah. The apex, the pinnacle of the Jacob Hurtubise Reds roster experience was the Atlanta series. Tyler Callahan runs into a wall, unfortunately, breaks his forearm. Looks like he's been doing better. I think there was an update that Mike gave us last time he was on that he's got a new kid and he's, healing up. Hopefully he'll be back in 2026.
Castless.
Yeah. Best wishes to him. But there was the thought, Benson's raking, Rhys Hines is raking. We need somebody for that Atlanta series. And in that Atlanta series, you remember that all the games, they were close. They lost in like 10 innings, one game, and a couple other games that were real close. So like you could have used a bat potentially that could take it yard. Everyone's like, oh yeah, Will Benson, obvious pick to be called up. Not if you're Nick Krall and Brad Meter. Jacob Hurtubise got called up, even though I think the stat was he was hitting like 190 at that point in AAA. So, I don't know. I don't know if I can't blame the player for being called up in that situation because that's on the organization. But
yeah,
he's just doing what he can, and what he can was unfortunately not enough. Although the bright spot I'd like to point out is that, we've DFA'd Mr. Austin Wynns, and Austin Wynns hit a home run the other day. So maybe Mr. Hurtubise can find a new home and start fresh, get a new team and whatnot that may need his.
It's not over.
Yeah. So hopefully that's his story. Hopefully we get some cash considerations, that all-star to get him, a new home wherever that may be. Who knows? The White Sox traded away Andrew Vaughn. Maybe he'll find a home there. So you never know. But yeah, moving on.
Yeah, but I want to add one more thing. Speaking of future Hall of Famer cash considerations,
I didn't know he had that ready to go.
Oh no, I literally just added it.
I just got caught off guard.
So looking at Blake Dunn versus Stuart Fairchild this season. Fairchild is a 0.0 WAR player. Blake Dunn is negative 0.1. Fairchild's played in 21 games. Blake Dunn's played in 30. 75 plate appearances for Blake Dunn, 36 for Fairchild. Dunn has the 1 home run, 7 RBIs. Fairchild's got 2, but I believe one of those was a game-winning RBI, if I remember right.
Yeah.
And batting average, Fairchild's got him beat. He's batting 182, and Blake Dunn's batting 150. On base percentage, we got Blake Dunn batting 320. We have an on base percentage of 250 for Stuart Fairchild. Fairchild's slugging 273, and Blake Dunn is slugging 233. And OPS, basically a wash, 553 OPS, and then OPS plus 54 for Blake Dunn and 47 for Stuart Fairchild. So it's a battle of the bums at this point.
Yeah.
And who knows, cash considerations could become that guy.
Yeah, why not? I mean, we certainly love getting cash considerations here in Cincinnati. And I don't know if I said this on another show, but what is how much? What's the minimum for cash? Is it $1, $2?
He buys them like a bucket of baseballs from the training facility.
Starbucks, you get Like, I don't know.
Bought
Like,
him a Starbucks gift card.
yeah,
Here you go, Bob. This is for your this is for your son Phil to go buy some coffee on his way into work tomorrow.
I honestly don't know. Like, I have to look
If I
it up.
had to guess, and we can ask Nick Wednesday. If I had to guess, it's probably minimum salary for a season. It's
Okay.
probably like 700,000 or something in that ballpark. I don't
So
know. It's a
basically,
good question.
so
I'll have to
basically
write
just
that one down.
like a minor league contract, like a
Yeah.
Okay, well that's fair. Well, then it's better than $1.
How about yeah? Could you just imagine like you get a check in the mail for $1 and then it gets taxed, so you get like 68 cents or something?
I don't know, man. Like, that's the thing.
Phil would be so mad. He'd be like, "What? Yeah, I mean, now we got to sell the team. Where are we gonna go?"
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they should make the if like it's a bigger market team, they should pay like way above market value. You know, if they can. Like if it's a Dodgers, they got to pay like twice the $700,000.
$3.
$3. Yeah, that's it.
Dodgers send $3. The Rockies send $1.50.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Well, hopefully not a future Dodger, but a guy that probably is the red hot red of the week. I try to get a couple guys so that we don't overlap, but it's kind of hard to not pick this one guy because we've already been talking about him. He's the face of the franchise. At least I don't know. I guess I'm gonna go first. Sorry, Ricky.
Oh, you got it. Go ahead.
Ellie is the red hot red of the week, in my opinion. Like the guy obviously is on a home run streak, 4 straight games, I want to say. Not against like bums. We're not hitting these home runs against the Colorado Rockies, right? Or you know, whoever, like the Pirates, right? He'll do that against the Pirates too, obviously. But like, I don't know, man. I feel like he's transitioning to that power Barry Bonds era maybe sooner than later. Like he's still stealing bases and whatnot, but like that was the comp that we were talking about. The Pittsburgh Pirate Barry Bonds is what Ellie kind of is looking like, at least at the moment. I don't know, man. If he's going to hit 30 home runs, we'll take it because we haven't had a guy hit 30 home runs since 2021. So like,
Yeah,
I'm all for that. And he's already halfway there, more than halfway there. He seems to like really big ballparks for some reason to hit his home run. Hit it in Kauffman, hit it now. Comerica is one of the bigger ballparks in the game.
Cleveland.
Yeah, Cleveland. Yeah, and maybe we just got to push out the fences at Great American Ballpark. Maybe it's too close. They don't
Just move back home plate all the way back to the backstop.
Yeah, obviously taking out seats may or may not help the Reds because there'd be less.
That's not going to happen. Phil's going to want more seats.
All right.
Well, no, they might remove seats and just add more suites, and then that makes up financials.
Yeah, my guy, Red of the Week is definitely Ellie De La Cruz for all the things, and we'll talk about him also in the next segment because he's a real
controversy.
Yeah, he's a real target for Red's Facebook all the time. But who's your guy, Rick?
I could have went with Ellie, but I thankfully had another person just in case, and I got Tyler Stevenson.
Oh yeah,
batting .344 in his last 7, slugging .531, and he's got that home run that he hit yesterday,
Grand
Slam, and probably could have went with Andrew Abbott too. But I'm gonna go with Stevenson just because you need Stevenson to get going, and you know I don't know how much time we're gonna have left with him. Just if we want to have this conversation, he's 28, hasn't signed an extension yet. He's got another year of arbitration, and he could be a free agent in 2020 after 26. Right? Is that it? Because he was drafted and he came up in 2020. I just don't know if that COVID season messes up the timeline of things.
Let's see. Oh, look at this.
But, you know, he's 28 years old. He turns 29 this season. So, catcher, 29, not extended yet. Sadly, we don't have anybody in the farm system that's ready other than the future and Alfredo Duno. But I want him around, but I don't think he's going to get that long-term deal that we want. It's going to be a bigger contract than what Trevino got, just because Trevino's age. But we might see like a 3-year deal, 4-year deal for like, I don't know, $60 million or something. It's not. I don't think it's going to be crazy, but yeah, I'm going to go with Stevenson. That he showed the power that he has. I mean, there's been people out there saying he could hit 40 home runs in a season. I love that take, but I'll take 20. If we can get 20 from Tyler, I'll be happy.
Yeah, Stevenson is going into his third year of arbitration next season before unrestricted free agent in 2027. So
okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if they let him go to that third year, and then depending on how
extend him.
Yeah, and then depending on how well that year goes, there's also the which is hitting a lot of free agents, the CBA coming up at the end of December 1st, 2026. So the Reds, in their not so lavish spending ways, may wait until that CBA is finished before they may even look to make a deal. But that 2027 season might not start on time. A lot of people predicting it definitely is not going to have an opening day.
I think the season gets missed altogether.
Really, that's a hot take. I was thinking like April, May, because I think the players want to play. Like they want to get their service time. They want to get their.
Yeah, I think they want to play, but they also want their money. And if there's going to be a salary cap, there's going to be a lot of players that are saying, hey, I'm better than what Juan Soto is. And I don't think there's many players that are, but there's going to be that guy that says, hey, I deserve Juan Soto money, and it's not going to get it because of salary cap. Or there's going to be somebody that says, I want 12 years, $470 million, and they're not going to get it because of a salary cap. So they're going to want to play, but they're also going to want their money. And I don't think the players' union is just going to let it go. I think they're going to fight it tooth and nail. And hopefully that it just doesn't ruin the game. Hopefully because the salary cap needs to happen. We wrote an article on that together about it. It needs to happen. There needs to be some kind of cap, mostly a floor, but there needs to be some kind of cap just to even it out a little bit. But it all comes down to like revenue sharing and who, all that. We can go into the weeds of it, but yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if there's a missed season.
Wow. All right. Stay tuned to a future off-season
here first.
episode. Yeah, I would say so that we'll take that take into the off-season, and we'll talk about probably the CBA and whatnot, salary cap and whatnot, probably in an off-season episode, unless something comes up. There's been lots of rumors and leaks to the media, which obviously is strategy for the negotiations that are to come in about a season and a half. So I don't know, lot there, a lot on the bone there. We'll leave that for a future episode. But yeah, I forgot Andrew Abbott's 9-inning complete game shutout was this week. That's how long this week is. I forgot that.
A long week.
Shout out to Andrew Abbott for doing that. And I think maybe because we covered it on Wednesday, maybe I thought that was a week ago.
Well, he only pitched one time this week too, so that's fair.
Yeah, Tuesday was so long ago. But anyway.
It feels like it was ages ago.
Yeah, but we're going to talk more about, unfortunately, Elly De La Cruz, but in a different way. The Reds Facebook comment of the week was on fire, and Ricky even got into
I stirred up some drama. I poked the bear on this one, man. I rattled the cage. I'm going to find the image that I posted too after I put this up, but these are some of the responses we got. I'll go full screen with it.
And this was in reference to the original. He's looking up the original one, but that original one was a common meme that you see with a lot of players. A lot of players even use this meme. I feel like there was a Pittsburgh Steeler, maybe George Pickens, somebody like a wide receiver or something like that, use this meme to demonstrate that his team's not valuing him, that he's the Lamborghini in the, shanty house, to say it nicely, the broke down house. But this Reds Facebook comment of the week, Ricky definitely set something off. I forget exactly what you said as well that set it all
I
off.
just posted the picture. That is it. That's what makes it so funny.
No commentary at all?
I posted and ghosted this one. I didn't say a word.
Wow. So, yeah. So it still says.
And then all the people calling him Cruz in the comments just made it even better.
Okay. Yeah.
But here, I'll pull this up real quick, and then we'll go back into the original one. But here's the post.
Right.
It's a worn down house, saying it nicely, with a carport with a Bugatti underneath the carport. And it is that the Reds are the worn down house, and Elly De La Cruz is the nice, expensive sports car in the shed. And we'll go with these comments. We got still lacks humility. Get a haircut and button your jersey. You're not a superstar. I got called a hemorrhoid, which is funny. I thought that was hilarious.
don't
With
even know what
fans
that
like
means.
you who needs hemorrhoids.
What does that even mean?
I don't know. Apparently, I poked the wrong bear on that one. I wasn't even being negative. Like it's a fact. The Reds are a poor franchise that can't afford contracts, and Ellie De La Cruz is the nice sports car that we can't afford yet. We haven't been repossessed. We have him, but it's going to get repossessed. And he can take his strikeouts and errors away from the Reds, and I won't shed a tear.
Oh my goodness.
Phew.
Is that
Pretty
for real?
telling when our best player leads the majors in errors and strikeouts.
Okay.
I agree for the most part, but for a good portion of the season, Ellie has kind of fit right in. That's not a hot take. And he will be a Yankee soon. And if I wanted to go on, I have plenty more to pick from. I'm not going to pull them up, but I will read them. I posted and just said how anyone finds this as a negative Ellie post is beyond me.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Real weird that they're defending the multi-millionaire Phil Castellini and Bob Castellini.
Yeah.
Running a team not like other franchises on a small budget for the last.
Yeah, and then the car will not start. It's broken down.
Okay.
He's gone as soon as he's free agent available. He's worth every penny. That's a good take. I'll take that one. The guy, it definitely is worth his $700,000 salary.
Yeah, no,
then,
that's the fact that's missed, in my opinion. It's like this guy is doing it all on obviously
a rookie contract. He's not even arbitration yet. He's getting paid league minimum.
Yeah.
And what's his batting average now? Around 260, 50 RBIs. The next person, 245. Next comment. He's 23.
Oh, nice comment.
Yeah. So I stirred the bear on that one, and that one got a lot of traction. That one had over 3,500 reactions to it on Facebook with 388 shares.
Wow.
Didn't expect that to happen when I posted and ghosted. I didn't check it for like a couple hours. And when I saw those comments, I was like, screenshot. Because I was like, these are perfect timing for our upcoming live on Sunday, because that's hilarious.
Yeah, I feel like this could be, I don't want to be too critical, Rick, but maybe we can like couple the poking of the bear with like, hey, if you like this take or you hate this take, come watch our show.
I should have done that. I should have done it for the Red Hot Reds Facebook page, not my own.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe next time we'll do that.
Next time. Yeah, I'll post. I'll find something similar.
Yeah, why not? I mean, engagement is engagement. Unfortunately, the internet is really good at negative engagement. But if it can drive people to our show, maybe we can win them over. Maybe we can get them to see the not necessarily. We're not. I don't know. I don't like to think that our show is all rose-colored glasses, that we look past everyone's flaws, because this franchise has flaws. This team has flaws. You know what I mean? Like, there's a reason why we're only 2 games over 500 and not right there with the Cubs right at the moment. So I don't know. I feel though that there are some things that I don't know. He's not above criticism, De La Cruz. Obviously, his errors. He obviously hasn't been the same player that he's been in the past in terms of stealing bases, but like he's still on the path to that. That peak 27 year is usually the peak of an MLB player. He's 4 years away from that. So like he's got a lot to go. Luckily, those 4 years at least will be with the Red Legs, presumably. But at that point, when we get to the Yankees comments, stuff like that, that's down the road. A lot of these people, I don't think, are watching the Reds that much to be worried about the 2030 Reds. So like, there's that. But anyway, it was funny. Ricky going in there, getting in the middle of
got the wheeze on that one.
Yeah. Luckily, you came out of there not upset like you did with Gordon Whitmire's comment.
I couldn't. Being called a hemorrhoid was just that's a new one in my. I've never heard that one.
I don't know.
Like I'm not like a negative fan, right? I'm generally pretty positive. If that guy saw any of my work that I've done, whether it's on here or in any article I've ever wrote, I mean, I'm generally pretty positive. But yeah, it was fun.
Hey, look out for Ricky again, posting memes that'll get people riled up on the internet. So, but anyway, we'll move on to our minor league segment, the Reds minor league recap, 3 up, 3 down. We got some guys out there that we want to profile. I think this is the 3 down. Yeah, 3 up. Here we go. So
we're live.
Yeah, here we go. The guys that we had, the AAA guy that's been raking, Rhys Hines, 12 for 26 this week. 7 of those 12 hits were doubles. No home runs, which is strange. I don't know if that's a thing, like a new. I don't know. I don't know if that's like him just maybe picking his spots and not over swinging and trying to find the gap. I don't know if a new focus or it's just the pitching that's been coming his way. I don't know. Good question. But also want a special shout out to Connor Phillips on the way back. He's reinventing himself as kind of like a reliever. He throws 100 now. He hasn't allowed a run in 8 consecutive appearances is what I saw in the stat a couple days ago. So like maybe Connor Phillips is going to come in and see the success Graham Ashcraft has had and say, hey, I can do that. I can come in and be the high leverage guy or low leverage guy, maybe to bridge the gap from starter to the rest of the bullpen. Who knows? I mean, if he throws 100, maxes out, that could be a guy that could be valuable, especially if there's injuries or, guys that are struggling and maybe need to get sent down. Shout out to Connor Phillips. A guy that's been struggling as well, Jay Allen II in Double-A. Shout out to him, 9 for 17 this week, 3 doubles, a triple, 5 RBIs for Chattanooga. You'd love to see it. He was recently promoted, or not recently, but he was promoted from Dayton to Chattanooga and has been having kind of a struggle of a season. But this week, very positive. Love to see that too. And then third guy, shout also, we did the ACL Reds. That's Tyson Lewis, right?
Yep, not who you expected him to look like. That's
I know. Kenya Huggins is black. I know that for sure. But
yeah, when you hear the name Tyson Lewis, that's not who I envision. And
the reason why I
offend anybody when I say that, but I just don't envision that kid. And,
well, I think he's got like curly hair. I didn't see it through his helmet, so maybe that's. I'll take that as my excuse.
Yeah.
That. But Kenny Huggins shout out for single A. I think he's Daytona, right? He had 4 innings, 1 run in his start. He's been pitching pretty well of late. But yeah, ACL Reds, those guys have been. I think it was this week they won, or maybe last week they won like 20-2. The ACL Reds have kind of been tearing it up. There may be some guys that are ripe for promotion sooner or later, and Tyson Lewis is definitely one of those guys. He went 6 for 19, 3 runs, 3 RBIs, and ACL. And they don't play them every day. Is what it seems like. He played only like 4 games this week out of the 6 or 7 possible. So, well, yeah. Any thoughts on these 3 guys or the 4 guys? I mean,
I have 2 honorable mentions just because I know Rhys Hines was on a tear over his last couple games. He was like 4 for 5 last night, and then he was like 3 for 4 the day before that, a couple doubles. I want to also talk about 2 guys that particular I'm high on.
Yeah.
Adolfo Sanchez in the Dominican Summer League. Yeah. He's batting .344 with the home run this season, and his OPS is 1,051. And he's really like the only true outfielder that's in our top 30 that I'm really excited about. Him and Arnoldo Antigua, the guy that we got from the Dodgers. Adolfo Sanchez, there's a chance I think he's just now 18. So we got him a year ago, and he could possibly be in Arizona this season. There's a chance. And we might see him in high A or low A Daytona next season. Like it's getting to that point where he's been in the DSL for 2. This will be his 2nd season, and we might see him. And then the other guy, we lost Juan Austin already, but Austin Hendrick, he doesn't play every day, but in the month of June, he's batting .294 and he's slugging .588, and he's having a career year, low key. He in the season he's batting .248, which is a huge step up for him. He's been high 190s, low 2. So, and I've given him every excuse and it seems like he's kind of turning the corner. Just it stinks. You see a guy, he gets drafted, 12th overall in the first round, and he's this big bopper. He's 6 foot, 200 pounds. You look at, there was highlights that the Reds posted the week he got drafted. His swing looked a lot like Bryce Harper's, and it sucks because 2020's year he got drafted. We all know what happened that year. The next year they kind of recycle all of minor league baseball, and then it's a huge. We're seeing that he wasn't the only guy in the 2020 draft class that struggled. Like, that whole draft class really isn't that great. I think they even shortened it. I think it was only 7 rounds that year. And I don't know. It's somewhat exciting because he's still only 24. I think him and Rhys Hines are the same age. I believe Rhys Hines is 24 also.
He is.
So I don't know. I mean, I know I've heard, Trace Fowler talk about him because, Trace is kind of like me on him, where, you draft a guy in the first round, you want to see him develop, and he hasn't, but it also seems like he's not given up. And I don't know. I posted a video on X, and, I said AAA may not be out of the cards. You could see him in AAA relatively soon. But I wanted to spotlight him. He's got 6 home runs this season, and I wanted to leave it. I wanted to highlight him.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I know a guy that will drive him from Chattanooga to Louisville if he needed a ride. Right there. Ricky Logan right there. But yeah, great
class.
Stuff. So yeah, definitely losing at Austin makes you feel like we need to replace him. So hopefully that'll be the situation, soon. When I don't know, the roster decisions obviously sometimes are head scratching, and hopefully he'll just keep playing well and make it hard for the Reds organization to say no in terms of moving him up or not. So there's always that. But yeah, moving on to 3 down, our AAA guy, Zach Maxwell. Zach, right? He had a rough inning where he gave up 4 earned runs in 1 inning, got the loss on Thursday. Just, this is the thing. This is the life of a relief pitcher. You can be perfect for like how many ever appearances in a row, but 1 inning can blow up your ERA and maybe, your confidence. And hopefully that's not the case for him going forward. As we can tell, he's kind of pretty confident guy with the whole thumbs down celebration when he had that one. Was it the spring training or whatnot? So
it was the spring breakout game versus the Brewers.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, and then for AA, Ethan O'Donnell, he has had a struggle in June. 8 for 41 in June. Not necessarily lighting the world on fire there at Chattanooga. And then also Carlos Jorge this week, 2 for 19, 1 RBI, and he's hitting 203 on the season. And that's, you hate to see that, but hopefully he can kind of get it right and get out there, because the Dayton Dragons have kind of been playing pretty well. I got to get out there. I haven't been to a game yet. I was telling my wife that we haven't been to a game yet, and we got to try to see the Dragons. There's definitely some guys out there. Our favorite Luke Hayden and Surinowski are still, at the Dayton Dragons level still. So we got to get out there before maybe they get called up or whatnot. So, but any thoughts on these guys?
Other than the fact that, you really want to see Maxwell perform well, just based on the potential that he has to be the back of the bullpen guy that we need. Him and Luis May, with Luis May being sent back down to AAA, and we need those guys to really. It was kind of a shock, honestly, because Luis May pitched in AA last year, and then did he even play in AAA? Hardly at all. He played in like a few weeks in AAA, and then he got promoted, right? And then
he started in Dayton as well. Like, he started the year 2024 in Dayton, so he fast tracked.
Yeah. So it was maybe he got rushed a little bit. We kind of needed a bullpen arm. We brought him up, pitched well, and then kind of fizzled off a little bit. And I think he got sit down at the right time. But we really need him and Maxwell to be really dominant back of the bullpen guys, because those could be, set up closer in the order. And Carlos Jorge, he's kind of going through a transition. He got moved to the outfield this season. Maybe that's kind of taken a toll a little. I'm not, I'll give him a little bit of a benefit of the doubt. And then Ethan O'Donnell, just, he's kind of been pretty well up until this season. He was kind of fast tracked to get moved up potentially to AAA this season, but he's kind of struggled, and I don't know, he's kind of like a almost like a utility guy. I think he's an outfielder by trade, but he can play some infield, I believe. But yeah, you really want to see these guys. Hopefully they're not on the down for too much longer.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. And yeah, we'll hopefully be seeing these guys in the up ones in the coming weeks. Did want to say shout out to William Wright. Thanks for joining the chat. Yeah, if you saw earlier in the show, we were singing Ellie's praises, William. He has been great. I don't think he just deserves to be an all-star. I think we got to start getting the Vote for Ellie campaign out there. We got to get him ahead of Mookie Betts. And Mookie Betts an outfielder. What is he doing? I don't know.
He's everywhere, man. Take a spot and leave him.
Yeah, come on. Leave shortstop alone. It's Ellie's spot. You know what I mean? But no, I think it'd be surprising. I'd like to see the first results of votes for the All-Star to see. I think he's right on his heels. He's got better stats than him. And unfortunately, Mookie's just a more established name and plays on a bigger, franchise, bigger, media market. So there's that. But I think he could be the All-Star starter. If not this year, maybe next year for sure, be the starter. I mean, the guy just keeps getting better, as we've pointed out many, many, many times. So
yeah.
Any other thoughts there?
Nope.
All right, so this coming week we got some really kind of, I don't know, like the Twins have kind of cooled off since they won 13 straight games. But we got 3 games against them. Ricky's going to be on the ground, boots on the ground on Tuesday to watch them in action, watch his favorite Andrew go out there and pitch on Tuesday night against the Twinkies. And then they go into St. Louis, the hated St. Louis Cardinals. Was it Busch Stadium still? Or is it?
I believe so. I believe it's still Busch Stadium.
Yeah, okay. So the Cardinals, and hopefully, I don't know, man. I feel good about this week. Obviously, winning the getaway game against one of the best teams in baseball makes you feel like you can do it again.
It's Cloud 9, man. It hasn't happened.
Yeah,
that's
so
celebration territory.
And the Twins coming here, and they've been playing about 500 baseball. I think they're like 2 or 3 games over 500. So they're not lighting the world on fire anymore with their 13-game winning streak. In fact, here's a take: maybe the 2025 Twins are the 2023 Reds, and they're just kind of got that win streak to make them seem like they're better than they are.
So the Twins are 1 game above 500 right now.
Yeah,
they lost to Houston today.
If they don't win that 13-game win streak, they're not a great ball club. It's basically what I'm trying to say. So maybe I don't want to disrespect them, because then they can come here and win 2 out of 3, and then I'm sitting here looking like a fool for disrespecting the Minnesota Twins. But I don't know. I feel like a 4-2 week doesn't sound far fetched. What do you think?
I'll say this: Andrew Abbott on the mound Tuesday. In his last 3 appearances, he's got a 2.05 ERA. He's got 19 strikeouts, 3 walks. And it's on the season, he's 6-1, 1.87 ERA. The guy scheduled to be the starter, obviously it could change, is David Festa for Minnesota. And in his last 3 games, he's got a 7.90 ERA, and he's got 7 walks, 15 strikeouts, 13 hits allowed. So,
no hitter.
Should the bats, no hitter, very well could. Maybe this is the Andrew Abbott game that, that he could go out there and twirl something miraculous after his last start out. But then you also have, could he have a letdown game after tossing a 3-hit shutout complete game? But I think he also gets an extra day off with the off day, so maybe that helps him out too. So it's exciting. Just I'm a huge Andrew Abbott fan. It stinks that over the last 2 seasons he's really tailed off towards the end of the season. He did come into camp this season, as a lot of players say, in the best shape of his life, and I think it's showing. honestly, for him. It didn't show for Jamer Candelario.
Yeah.
But for Andrew Abbott, I think he really meant it. I think he really did show up. And they said he was down like 25 pounds. So I think he really took it to heart, and you're seeing him. The results are showing for him. So I'm happy for him.
Yeah, all-star Andrew Abbott for sure. Hopefully he gets another win, another confidence-building moment for him, and we'll definitely take that. If he gets a no-hitter, awesome. We'll take that too. But yeah, William is right. The Twins are actually struggling. They got swept, and they've lost 4 in a row. So the Reds kind of have to they got to come out not taking them for granted that this is going to be a ball club that's down on their luck. They're probably going to be fighting that game 1 to try to break up their losing streak and kind of get right. They're still in the mix in their division and whatnot, but they haven't been playing spectacular baseball since winning 13 in a row. So let's take advantage of that fact to keep their losing streak going this week. And who knows? I don't know. The St. Louis one, I guess, is the more telling because the Reds, they've done well against the Cubs, strangely, but against like the Brewers and the Cardinals, and they'll have their weird struggles against the Pirates from time to time. But the in-division games have to be not must wins, but they can't get swept. But 2 out of 3 sends a statement, especially in St. Louis, who a team is, I think, 3-7 in their last 10. So like, I guess maybe they're finding 2 teams that are, meeting them at the right moment, which unfortunately that also can mean for the Reds that they play down to their opponents. We hate to see that. Maybe we've said this, I guess, against right after the first sweep of the Guardians, or the first series against the Guardians. They go into playing Chicago in Cincinnati and have a letdown. So we really need this ball club to really not have that letdown this week. I still think 4-2 doesn't sound far-fetched, but hopefully that's not like losing a series to Twins and then sweeping the Cardinals or something like that. I'd rather win 2 series in a row.
Yeah, if we can get hot, there's a chance we could sneak our way back into a division conversation. We're only 6.5 games back of the Cubs. Let's just say we take 2 out of 3 versus Minnesota and 2 out of 3 versus St. Louis. That puts us, depending on how Chicago does, we're only a game and a half back from Milwaukee. That could put us into second place in the division with a good week of baseball this week. So, yeah, I mean, like William says, we struggled against the Marlins, Nationals, and White Sox, but hopefully we're turning the corner. We need to stop playing down to our opponents. I think that, it's crazy. You beat a team like Detroit in Detroit, and you kind of beat them at their own game in a little ways. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think that we can beat a team like that, but yet we can't beat the Nationals and Marlins or the White Sox.
It's definitely frustrating, but if you really think about it, the Dodgers and the Yankees lost series to us last year, and they're in the World Series. So, maybe it's just baseball being baseball, the bounce maybe not going your way, or just like they're all professionals, they're all going out there. They're not necessarily trying to just lay down unless they're the Rockies. But, they definitely need to play above their competition. That's going to be kind of the thing to watch for this week. And having Andrew Abbott go game 1 is an excellent way to start, especially the way he's been pitching lately. So I think we'll be okay. I feel somewhat confident, which is, I guess, maybe kind of dangerous thing to say out loud because I could be saying the complete opposite thing next Sunday.
Yeah. I want to add one more thing before we get out of here. I'm looking at the Pirates. They lost 3 out of 4 to the Cubs, but did you see the scores of the series?
Was it close?
It was close. It was 1-run game every game.
Yeah, they lost in 10 today.
It was 3-2 on Thursday, 2-1 Pirates won on Friday. It was 2-1 Cubs won on yesterday, and the Cubs won 3-2 today. And the Pirates have been sneaky hot lately.
Yeah.
They've won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of their last 10 before the Cubs series. I don't know. Maybe the Cubs are kind of coming back down to earth after that, and the Pirates are kind of playing up a little bit, and hopefully we can get a nice series win versus Minnesota and go on the road. And like you said, we seem to be our offense fares better on the road. Maybe we don't play better, but maybe the offense plays better on the road. And maybe we come out of there 6-2 again, and we're only 3 games out of the division.
Yeah, why not? I mean, yeah, definitely need to win division games. That's like a must, if anything. Not obviously can't sweep every single division opponent, but
Right.
we can at least show that we're the better ball club. St. Louis, like I said, we're meeting them in a good spot where they're 3-7 their last 10. Let's put them out of their misery. Let's stop this silliness of like allowing teams to kind of get
Take
one
them
over.
out back, as they say.
Exactly. You know what I mean? The Cardinals. I mean, they're the Cardinals. They're going to find some voodoo magic, I think is the quote.
And the Brewers somehow,
Letterbox
some
guys.
way.
Yeah, so I don't know. We like to bury them and make sure they're dead. So let's do that this week at the very least, And we'll see. We'll see you next Sunday about that. Hopefully all this comes true. But anything else you got before we sign off, Rick?
No, catch us here on Wednesday. I think we might be starting later than normal. I think it's going to be 9 o'clock on Wednesday instead of 8. But we got Mr. Nicholas P. Kirby.
Yeah,
from
the
Chatterbox Sports coming on for a little Q&A from us. So it'll be a lot of fun. We'll talk some Reds baseball with them at the end, but it'll be a lot of fun. And I don't know. I mean, it's pretty cool. Nick's a cool guy, so it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, the night owl, Nicholas Kirby, starting baseball games at 9 o'clock as he wants it. This is perfect time. It's when he's most awake and most of doing all his work, I think, right?
Yeah, he sends me notes for the pregame show at like 3 a.m.
Oh,
like,
man.
Dude, I'm just waking up, man.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah. Any pregame shows this week for you?
I have Friday, as far
All
as
right.
I'm aware.
All right. Sounds good. The start of a sweep of the St. Louis Cardinals on Friday. How about that?
Be nice. Be really nice.
All right. Then we'll see you next Wednesday. We'll see you this Wednesday, 9 o'clock. We'll go live for that as well. Right, Rick?
Yep.
So look out for that. Nick Kirby, we're thankful for his time. But until then, go Reds.
Go Reds.
We're the Reds.